Sarvebhyo namaskaraha. I hope I am audible. My screen clear. Vande tam madavaranendravadhanam madbhagatheya kritim shundadanda suchalanena jagatam mayantaraya mayan vidravya pranati prasanna hridayo yonukta eva swayam rakshatyanvahamatmanoti virudam vaidyesha putrabhidham. Namaskaraha. Continue. Do a quick recap and continue. So, last class we were in Damanaka-pingalaka-samvadah. That is what we were seeing. Conversation happening between Damanaka and the lion Pingalaka. So, Tantasya nishkoshanakena nityam karanasya kanduyanakena vapi trinena karyam bhavatishvaranam kimanga vaghasta vatana rena. So Damanaka starts explaining to Pingalaka the need for keeping a good sevaka with him and how he has ignored in his duty by depriving Damanaka of a good position for a very long time. He has failed in his evaluation as a king and so on. So Ishvaranam, so for people in power, even a small blade of grass is of use in the form of a nishkoshanakatrana. So one can always use that as a toothpick or an earbud to take away the dirt from the ear, or toothpick. It can be used as a toothpick. So Trinena api Ishvaranam karyam bhavati vag hastavata narena kimanga. So why not? Why can a human who is much more powerful than a blade of grass, he can accomplish better things for him? So why not? How can a human being not be useful for the king? Tatha vayam devapadanam anvayagata bhrityaha apatsu api prishthagaminaha yadyapi swamadhikaram na labhamahe tathapi devapadanam etad yuktam na bhavati. So we are your pristhagamis, we have been your followers, and apatsu api pristhagamis, we have had your back for a very long time. We have not abandoned you even at times of apat, even during difficult times. We have not left you, and we are traditional sevakas, anvayagataha bhrityaha. Yadyapi swamadhikaram nalabhamahe. Even when we are not given our position, even when we are not given what we deserve, we have still not left you and we have been loyal to you. Sthaneshveva niyoktavya bhrityashchabharanani cha nahi chudamanif pade prabhavami iti vadhyate. So ornaments and sevakas are to be are to be kept in the place that they deserve. Right? Sthaneshvu eva niyoktavyaha. They have to be used in appropriate places. Chudamanihi prabhavami iti kritva padena badhyate. So chudamani is to be worn on, it is a kesha bhushana. Okay? It is used to adorn your kesha. You cannot tie it on your feet. Just because you can do it, you should not do it. It is very unsuitable for that place. Similarly, appropriately, sevakas have to be given a role and they have to be compensated duties. The idea. Anabhignyah gunanam yo nabhrityai anugamyate dhanadhyopi kulinopi kramayatopi bhupatihi. So bhupatihi dhanadhyopi kulinopi kramayato. So even when a king is very prosperous, and he is a person coming from a very reputed high family, very nice kula, kulinaha, born of a high family, and kramayata, and he has been traditionally handed down kingship. Despite having all these qualities, if he is not aware of the fine qualities of his sevaka and does not appreciate them now and then, such a king is not followed. So, anabhignaha gunanam saha bhrityaha saha raja bhrityaihi na anugamyate. He is not followed by his prityas. Asamai samiyamana samaischa parihiyamana satkaraha dhuricha ayujyamana tribhihi arthapatim tyajati bhrityaha. So when does a bhritya, a sevaka, leave an arthapati? When does he leave his boss? Asamai samiyamana, when he is compared or when he is treated on par with his unequals, with those that are not equal to him. Samaishcha parihiyamana satkaraha, and when he is not respected by his peers. Dhuricha ayujyamana, when he is not involved, when he is not given appropriate or higher positions, so that he is deserving of, but he is still not given. In these cases, a king is abandoned by the bhritya. He is left off by the bhritya. Yacha avivekataya raja bhrityan uttamapadayogyan hina adhamasthane niyojayati nate tatraiva tishthanti saha bhupater doshaha natesham. So when a raja unknowingly, without any viveka, uttama padayogyan bhrityan, so those sevakas deserving of very high position, when a king employs them at a much lower position, hina adhamasthane niyojayati, he does not give them appropriate role and rise, nate tatraiva tishthanti, they will not accept that and they will not stay there. And this is not the fault of the sevaka, but saha bhupater doshaha natesham. Uttancha kanakabhushana sangrahanochito yadimanis trapuni pratibadhyate nasavirauti na chapi na shobhate bhavati yojayitur vachaniyata. So a money which deserves to be studded in a kanakabhushana, in a kanakabharana, in a golden ornament, when it is used with some kind of let us say something made up of lead, trapuni pratibadhyate nasavirauti, so the money does not cry, nachapi na shobhate, it is not that the value of the money has gone, but then it only talks about the inability of the yojayita, such a person who has thought of this combination, that such a beautiful money has to go there and not in an appropriate golden ornament. So yojayituhu vachaniyata, so yojayita is to be blamed there and not the money. Yacha swami evam vadati chirad drishyate tadapi shruyata. And Pingalaka, when welcoming Damanaka, asked him as to why has he not been seen around for a very long time and why does he present himself at this time. Chirad na drishtosi iti Pingalakaha Damanakam vadati tasya pratyuttaram idam. Okay. So he is replying to that statement. Yacha swami evam vadati chirad drishyate tadapi shruyatam. So tasya karanam api shruyatam. Savyadakshinayor yatra vishesho nasti hastayoho kastatra kshanamapyaryo vidyamana-gatir bhavet. So yatra, yasmin sthane. So that place where there is no differentiation between Savyahasta and Dakshinahasta. Vamahasta and Dakshinahasta, no differentiation whatsoever between right hand and left hand. Tatra kaha vidyamana-gatihi aryaha kshanamapi bhavet. So what kind of a self-respecting man who has 100 other options, vidyamana gatihi kshanamapi bhavet, even for a moment will stay there at such a place where he does not get his due, where he is not respected. Kache manir manaukacho yasham buddhir vikalpate natesham sannidhau bhrityo namamatropi tishtati. So those who think of, those who value a gemstone like they value a piece of glass, and those who value, the value that has to be given to a piece of glass is given to a valuable gemstone. Tesham sannidhau namamatraha api bhrityaha pratishtati. When a namesake sevaka does not stay in their presence. Parikshaka yatra nasanti deshe narghanti ratnani samudrajani abhira deshe kila chandrakantam tribhirvaratair vipananti gopaha. So this was the last verse that we saw the other day. So in Abhira Desha is the Pradesha where the Gopas live as a community, where the community of the Gopa lives. That is called Abhira Pradesha. Tatra parikshakaha nasanti. There are no proper evaluators. Parikshakaha is an evaluator, those who knows the value, especially Mani Parikshakaha, those who know about gemstones and things like that. Gopas don't have any use of gemstones. So in a community of Gopas, there is no Mani Parikshaka. Ratna Parikshaka is not there. Yatra nasanti deshe, tatra samudrajani ratnani na arghanti. So in such a place, so gemstones born out of samudra, okay, that one can get from samudra, are not valued properly. Gopaha abhiradeshe chandrakantam tribhir varatai vipananti kila. So there they exchange Chandrakanta money for 3 kauris. Okay. So kauri is very cheap and Chandrakanta money is supposed to be a very precious gem. But because one does not know the value of this, the Gopas take it for granted and sell it for 3 kauris. So what is the idea once again? A king must know to value a gunavan sevaka. A sevaka who has fine qualities has to be appreciated and has to be duly compensated. Proceed with the verse. Again, there is going to be a long list of shlokas conveying the same idea once again as to who is an ideal sevaka. So, and how can a king identify the ideal sevaka? So, it is going to be talking about sevaka, his loyalty towards the king, etc. Again, might look like it is definitely repetitive content only. The idea is not new, but shlokas are conveyed in different manners using different similes. So we'll see how that is. Lohitakhya cha manev padmaragasya cha antaram yatra nasti katham tatra kriyate ratna vikrayaha. Lohitakhya cha manev padmaragasya cha antaram yatra nasti katham tatra kriyate ratna vikrayaha. Lohita akhyasya cha manehe padmaragasya cha antaram yatra nasti katham tatra kriyate ratna vikrayaha. Again. Lohitakhyasya manehe padmaragasya cha. So there is a mani called Lohita. Lohita akhya. So a mani called Lohita. Some kind of a red stone, but not ruby. Padmaraga is ruby. Okay. So, but then Padmaraga is also red in color, and this Lohita. So we know that Lohita refers to redness. It refers to blood. There's so many meanings. Something made of copper is called Lohita. So Lohita denotes reddish brown red color. So and Padmaraga, ruby is also red in color, but then this is supposed to be not so valuable, but the ruby is a very, very precious gemstone. Right? So Lohitakhyasya manehe padmaragasya cha yatra antaram nasti. So the place where there is no difference between Lohita mani and Padmaraga, tatra katham ratna vikrayaha kriyate. How can one sell gemstones in such a place where there is no difference? So such a place, there is no difference between a ruby and a Lohita mani. So how can a person looking to sell gems, right, gemstones, and make a living out of it, how will he be employed there? In a similar way, how can a sevaka be employed at the service of a king who does not know to appreciate his fine qualities? Because only if he is able to see the fine qualities of the sevaka can also rise and the king can also grow. So where there is no mutual growth, what is the point of working there? Nirvishesham yada swami samam bhritya. Sorry, is it better now or? Hello, am I audible? Clear, thank you. So kauri is not peanut. So the idea is that he sells it away for peanuts, but kauri is sori in Tamil. I don't know what else. You can just type in kauri in Google and have a look. It's type of a seashell. Okay, get from the sea. You do not know sori. Nirvishesham yada swami samam bhrityeshu vartate tatrodhyama samarthanam utsahah parihiyate. Nirvishesham yada swami samam bhrityeshu vartate tatrodhyama samarthanam utsahah parihiyate. Nirvishesham yada swami samam bhrityeshu vartate tatra udyama samarthanam utsahaha parihiyate. Yada swami, so the boss, when he deals in the same manner with all the bhrityas, nirvishesham, without any vishesha, without any discrimination. Here, discrimination is not in a negative sense, but in the positive sense, where he acknowledges somebody for his good work. So somebody has to receive at least a pat on his back when he does some commendable work, right? So without that, if he is like, the same way, okay, there's no appreciation. So that kind of a nirvishesha is spoken here. So nirvishesha, without any appreciation towards good work, bhrityashu samam vartate. He treats all his bhrityas in an equal manner. The one who does not do any work and the one who works all the time, both of them get treated equally. Tatra tasmin sthane udyama samarthana utsahaha parihiyate. So those who are capable of working hard, udyama samarthana, those who are capable of doing good work, those who are not dullards, those who are not just interested in swallowing the money that one gets as the salary and just keep on going as long as it lasts. Not that. Those who are proactive and those who are interested in a win-win situation where he can contribute, his skills will grow, the king can be benefited, and then in turn he will be remunerated properly, and so on. So such enthusiastic people who have utsaha, that will gradually die in such an environment. It is natural. We don't need examples for this. It is true even today. Udyama samarthana tadrishyam paristhitau utsahaha parihiyate. So utsaha is gradually lost. It dies away, fades away. Putra yatra swami athava yada swami, whenever the swami treats all the bhrityas equally. Udyama is effort. Yes, sorry. Yes, the same. Sorry. Bhrityairvina swayam raja lokanugrahakaribihi mayukhairiva deeptamshuhu tejasvyapi na shobhate. Bhrityairvina swayam raja lokanugrahakaribihi mayukhairiva deeptamshus tejasvyapi na shobhate. Bhrityaihi vina swayam raja loka anugraha karibihi mayukhaihi iva deeptamshuhu tejasvi api na shobhate. See, swayam tejasvi api raja. So a raja can be a brilliant, a very, very, very fine king, brilliant king. Swayam tejasvi api lokanugrahakaribihi bhrityaihi vina na shobhate. He does not shine without bhrityas, without his sevakas, and yete bhrityaha kidrishaha lokanugrahakarina. So they are the ones who do loka anugraha, that is, they are the ones who accomplish tasks for the people and hence benefit them directly. So the Raja only passes orders. It is the Sevaka who accomplishes the task for the Raja, right? So without an accomplisher, without a person to act on his command, Even a brilliant king does not shine. Swayam tejasvi api. Even when he is brilliant himself, lokanugrahakaribihi bhrityaihi vina. So those sevakas who directly benefit the loka, the praja, without them, na shobhate. He does not shine. How? Lokanugrahakaribihi mayukhaihi vina deeptamshuhu iva. Deeptamshuhu is Surya. Surya, Deeptamshuhu. And he is Swayam Tejasvi. He is brilliant, right? But then, without his kiranas, Mayukha is kirana. Kiranam. Mayukha is his ray. So, sun is very, 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 very far away from us. And it is only the kiranas that reach the earth and it nourishes all of us, right? The kiranas, the rays of the sun, nourish all of us. So, lokanugrahakaribihi can be applied to mayukhaihi also. So, mayukhaihi lokanugrahakaribihi mayukhaihi vina deeptamshuhu shobhateva. So, can the sun shine without his rays? So, can the sun be of any use without his rays? If not for his rays, there is no use of the sun, right? As far as people who are far off from it are concerned, planets and so many other things which the sun sustains the entire solar system. Right? So it is his rays that are reaching the earth and nourishing the earth. So the rays, kiranani, lokanugrahakarini, kiranani, tadrishaihi lokanugrahakaribihi kiranaihi vina, mayukhaihi vina, without them, yatha deeptamshuhu na shobhate. So just the way the sun will not shine without his rays, Raja api na shobhate. Even a brilliant king cannot accomplish anything worthwhile without his sevakas. Arai sandharyate nabhirnabhau charah pratisthitah Swami sevakayorevam vritti chakram pravartate. Arai sandharyate nabhirnabhau charah pratisthitah Swami sevakayorevam vritti chakram pravartate. Araihi sandharyate nabhihi nabhaucha araha pratisthita Swami sevakayoho evam vritti chakram pravartate. So when you take a wheel, there are the ara is the spikes that are there on the wheel. What is it called? Spoke of the wheel, not a spike. Spoke of the wheel. That is what it is called, ara. And the Madhya Desha is called Nabhi, the nave. Okay, the nave of the wheel. Okay, it is the center portion. That is a Nabhi, and ara, the spokes around it. Araihi sandharyate nabhihi. So the spokes, they help in maintaining the nave portion. Okay, at the center it is fixed and that is sustained with the help of the aras. Nabhaucha araha pratisthitaha. So, and the aras, they all meet at the nabhi, and it is only because of the nabhi that they are sustained, right? So there is a paraspara bhavana there, right? So they are interdependent. The aras are dependent on the nabhi and the nabhi is dependent on the ara. Evameva swami sevakayoho evam evam rupena yatha chakre drishyate yatha samanya chakre drishyate evameva swami sevakayoho vritti chakram pravartate. So the dealings, okay, so the everyday dealings between the swami and the sevaka proceed in the same way. They are interdependent. Yeah. The Swami is dependent on the Sevaka and the Sevaka is dependent on the Swami. That is how their Vritti Chakra, their everyday dealing goes on and on. Very simple verses. They don't need much explanation at all. Shirasa vidhrita nityam snehena paripalitaha kesha api virajyante nisneha kim na sevakaah shirasa vidhruta nityam snehena paripalitaah kesha api virajyante sneha kim nisneha kim na sevakaah shirasa vidhrutaah nityam snehena paripalitaah keshaha api virajyante nisnehaah kim na sevakaah. So here again there is a comparison between kesha and asevaka. See, so keshaha kidrishaha nityam shirasa vidhrutaah. So they are always carried on the top of the head, right? So shirasa, so mastakena vidhrutaah. They are always carried by the mastaka. So that it means one, it is kept at the top. Okay. So and snehena paripalitaah. And they are nicely protected and nourished by sneha. Sneha, as far as the kesha is concerned, sneha refers to oil. Yeah, so oiling the hair regularly nourishes it. Snehena paripalitaah. So they are always kept at the top of the head and they are taken care of by sneha, by application of oil regularly. Tadrishaha keshaha api nisnehaha bhavanti ched virajyante. So if they become nisneha means if they are kept, without oil for a very long time, they will get rough. Virajyante. Okay. So they get rough and they start falling away, right? So that happens in the case of kesha. Similarly, so what to talk of sevaka? Sevakaha kim na? Sevakaha api sevakanam vishaye api evameva bhavati khalu. Ikavihi pritchati. So the same thing, does it not happen in the case of sevaka? How even when they are well respected, shirasa nityam vidhrutaah. Let us say that a king is very fond of a particular sevaka and is taking care of him in a very nice manner. He is always respected. Snehena paripalita. Okay, so they are treated very affectionately and it is going on. But then suddenly, and the case of a sevaka is also like that of the kesha only. See, it is not that one day I apply oil and I say, okay, fine. And then for the next 20 days, I will not apply oil, but the hair will still fall off and start getting rough. So snehana should be a regular kriya, right? Only then the hair is well taken care. Similarly, cannot say that some point in time, I awarded him something and then for some time I have not been talking to him. It should not be like that. It should be regular. Okay. So nisnehaha te bhavanti chet virajyante. Okay. So they will fall apart. Okay. So the relationship that they have with their king, that will weaken and they will start falling away. They will start going away. They will start looking for greener pastures and go somewhere. So they should regularly be told now and then that they are being cared for. Otherwise, they will not know. It is not enough that once in a year you give them some award and rest of the year you treat them like they are not there. That is not the way it works. You regularly show affection towards them. Otherwise, they will find better places to go. Shirasa nityam vidhrutaha api snehena paripalitaha api keshaha. So, even when they are always, kept at the top, okay, and snehena paripalitaha, treated affectionately, snehaha bhavanti chet. If at all you start ignoring them, then virajyante. They will start leaving. That's the idea. Raja tushto hi bhrityanam arthamatram prayachati te tu sammana matrena pranairapyupakuruvate. Raja tushto hi bhrityanam arthamatram prayachati te tu sammana matrena pranairapyupakuruvate. Raja tushtaha hi bhrityanam arthamatram prayachati. te tu sammana matrena pranaihi api upakurvate. So, Pushtaha Raja. So, a Raja who is very happy with his sevaka, what can he give him? Arthamatram prayachati. He just gives him some money or some kind of a wealth. It's some kind of wealth is what that a king can offer. That is all he can do. Arthamatram prayachati. Parantu te tu sammana matrena. So because of being respected, sammana matrena, when they are honored properly, pranaihi api upakurvate. So they help the king by even giving away their own life for the king. So that is the extent of the loyalty of the sevaka. Sammana matrena, you just have to respect him for his job, for his service. Instead of dishonoring him, you have to respect him. He has to just feel that you are valuing him for his service. That's all. If you are able to do that, that person will give away his life for you. It's a lot more than your compensation, right? So after all, the king compensates just with money. But then these people can offer their prana. Pranaihi upakurvate. Evam jnatva narendrena bhrityah karya vichakshanaah kulina shaurya samyuktaah shakta bhaktah kramagataah. Evam jnatva narendrena bhrityah karya vichakshanaah kulina shaurya samyuktaah shakta bhaktah kramagataah. Evam jnatva. So having known all this, so whatever has been spoken by me so far as to who is a fine Bhritya and what is it that a king can get out of employing such a Bhritya with fine qualities, and how should he appreciate them and things like that. Having known all this, Narendrena Rajnya Bhupatina Vichakshanaha Kulinaha Shaurya Samyuktaha Shaktaha Bhaktaha Kramagataha Bhrityaha Karyaha. So he has to employ what kind of sevakas, what kind of Bhrityas, Vichakshanaha. They have to be very, very, very capable. Samarthaha and Kulinaha. They have to be from a proper family. Their family lineage has to be very fine. They should not have any kind of a suspicious background. So background check he has to do. Kulinaha, Shaurya Samyuktaha, very courageous. Shaurya Samyuktaha, Shaktaha, very capable, and Bhaktaha, loyal. Shaktaha, Bhaktaha, and Kramagataha. So they have to be they have to have a proper tradition, okay, to their backing. Okay? That is a very important credential, right? So Kramagataha Bhrityaha Karyaha Kena Narendra. So it's the Narendra's duty. It is the duty of the king to ensure that all these qualities are taken care when he chooses to employ a sevaka. So what is the point of Damanaka? That Pingalaka has missed all this. So whoever he is having around him is not having all these fine qualities, and that is why nobody is able to give him proper counsel. And Damanaka, he is presenting himself as somebody with all these qualities, and that is why the king should listen to him, is his yes. Yah kritva sukritam rajño dushkaram hitamuttamam lajjaya vaktino kinchit tena raja sahayavan. Yah kritva sukritam rajño dushkaram hitamuttamam lajjaya vaktino kinchit tena raja sahayavan. Yaha rajñaha Yaha kritva sukritam rajñaha dushkaram hitam uttamam lajjaya vakti naha na kinchit tena raja sahaya. yaha Rajnyaha dushkaram uttamam hitam sukrutam kritva lajjaya kinchit navakti tena raja sahayava. So, yaha sevakaha, yaha dhrityaha dushkaram uttamam hitam rajnyaha. So, for the king, he accomplishes something that is very, very difficult to accomplish. Dushkaram and uttamam hitam, that is of ultimate benefit to the king. Okay, and such a task he accomplishes it very easily. Sukrutam kritva, and having accomplishing such a difficult task which directly benefits the king in a very, very easy way, lajjaya kinchit navakti, and out of modesty. Lajja here does not mean shame or it means modesty. Lajjaya kinchit navakti, out of modesty, he does not say anything, does not come and declare, okay, that I have done this, I have done that. Okay, so when he does not do that, tena raja sahayavan. So tadrishena sevakena raja sahayavan. So if he has such a sevaka, then the raja truly has a fine sahaya. Means sahaya here refers to a sevaka. So that means that the king is blessed with a really good sevaka. So that should be the ideal sevaka. Once again, this is very, very, very different from what we experience today. Right? See, today the idea is to sell yourself. Okay, so you have to go. So the performance review meeting comes, and we have to go and we have to say all this I have accomplished. Okay, and then we can demand. Right? But Swami Bhritya relationship does not work like that. Okay, in the traditional societies, it never worked like that. It works in a hierarchical fashion only. The Swami is at the top of the hierarchy, and the Bhritya is not his equal. He is his sevaka, so definitely, at a lower position in the hierarchy. But just because there is a difference, okay, in the hierarchy, there is somebody here and there is somebody there. Just because it is like that, it does not mean there is no love, there is no loyalty. It's something that is very, very, very difficult for us to understand. At least personally, I have found it very difficult to understand. It's actually, I cannot say it is difficult to understand. I would rather say that when I listen to these stories, when I was at a very young age, okay, so let us say when I was 10 or 12, that age, it was fine. I did not have any questions. So I understood then, I would say, because it was very natural. Okay, so it was very natural for me to understand that, okay, when I heard the Ramayana story for the first time, that, Rama is the Swami and Hanuman is the Sevaka. And he is such a Sevaka that without the order of his master, he will not kill Ravana, even though he has the potential to do so. He will not do that, okay, because his master has not ordered him to do that. He will not do that. Okay, it was not difficult for me to understand. And then later, it was very, very difficult for me to understand because of, other kind of exposures. Why should he not do that? Right? Because after all, Sita is in trouble. His master should be happy. If he actually kills Ravana and takes Sita home back, he should be very happy, right? So is the master so, arrogant that he cannot accept this kind of a favor from his Sevaka? Can he not do that? All sorts of questions come. Then now finally I am back to ground zero. Okay, that I once again understand that is how it works. Now, just because this is there, okay, the hierarchy is there, it does not mean there is no loyalty, there is no love. It is not like that. If in this relationship there is a lot of love and there is a lot of loyalty, that is what Panchatantra is talking about. If we cannot understand that, it is very difficult. We can see, we will only read Panchatantra as a piece of literature that is completely irrelevant today, and we cannot even empathize with the ideas that are spoken thereof. It will just be a plain text reading. Okay, fine, I'm doing some language practice, I'm learning some archaic language, and the ideas are also out of fashion. Very cruel ideas are there. Swami is there and the Sevaka is here. So for us, we are to those who so to all of us who are exposed to these ideas of equality and that hierarchy is inherently bad. It's very difficult to understand the relationship of a Swami and a Sevaka. So he says out of modesty that the Sevaka is, the ideal Sevaka does not actually talk about something that he has accomplished. It is the Swami's duty to recognize that and reward. He cannot go and demand. Okay. So that is the ideal Sevaka Bhava that is spoken of here. Lajjaya yaha kinchidapi navakti maunam tishthati. Does not, he accomplishes a great task like what Hanuman accomplished, and he does not come and say, oh my God, I did this. No. Others are motivating him. Okay, please go and talk. Okay, and Rama calls him, and that is when he opens his mouth and says Drishta Sita. Until then he does not speak. He has immense love and loyalty towards Rama. Okay, so that kind of a Sevaka Swami Bhava is what is spoken about here in these verses. Yasmin krityam samaveshya nirvishankena chetasa asyate sevakasya syat kalatramiva chaparam. Yasmin krityam samaveshya nirvishankena chetasa asyate sevakasya syat kalatramiva chaparam. Yasmin krityam samaveshya nirvishankena chetasa asyate sevakaha saha syat kalatram iva cha aparam. Yasmin krityam samaveshya. So, having handed over a job or a task to a person. Nirvishankena chetasa raja asyate. So the Raja can relax. He has given it to this person. So he need not worry if the job will be accomplished or not. Nirvishankena chetasa Raja asyate. So Raja can sit peacefully without any shanka in his heart, without any doubt in his heart. So Yasmin krityam samaveshya, giving the job, okay, instructing a sevaka to do the job. Okay. Yes, tasmin krityam samaveshya, having kept the job in him literally. Okay, so placing the job in his hands, the Raja can sit back and relax peacefully. Saha sevakaha, tadrishaha sevakaha, that sevaka aparam kalatram ivasya. So he is like another wife to the king. Okay. Wife is the closest aid a man can have. Right? Bharya mitram. So Bharya is the closest friend that a man can have, and this kind of a sevaka is like having another close partner, very close, trustworthy, loyal partner, such a sevaka. Yasmin krityam samaveshya. So having placed in him the job, having given him the job, the king can sit back and relax peacefully without any doubt. Yo nahutas samabhyeti dwari tisthati sarvada prishtas satyam mitam brute sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Yo nahutas samabhyeti dwari tisthati sarvada prishtas satyam mitam brute sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Yaha nahutaha na ahutaha samabhyeti dwari tisthati sarvada prishtaha satyam mitam brute saha dhrityaha arhaha mahi bhujam. Yaha sevakaha yaha dhrityaha nahutaha samabhyeti. He comes without being called for. Okay. So at a time of distress or at a time of need, the Raja does not have to invite him, okay, knock his door at the middle of the night saying there is a problem. No, he knows. He is ever vigilant. He always knows if there is some kind of a trouble. If he can sense well before that, he is already present before the king to advise him and to take appropriate action and things like that. Nahutaha, without being called for, he comes. Samabhyeti, he comes without being called for. Sarvada dvaritishthati, he is always available at the door. Prishtaha sannu satyam mitam brute, when asked, he speaks the truth and he speaks crisp, in a crisp manner. Okay, he does not speak the irrelevant things. He just speaks what is relevant. Mitam is limited. He speaks in a limited manner, but he speaks the truth. Satyam mitam brute saha bhrityaha mahi bhujam arha. So such a sevaka deserves a king. That is, such a sevaka is fit for the role of royal service. He is fit for serving kings. So he deserves to be called a sevaka. Yaha nahutaha samabhyeti, the one who comes uncalled for. Sarvada dvaritishthati, is always available at the door. Prishtasan, so when asked for, when asked something, when asked a question, he replies in a very short manner. Okay, he does not give lengthy talks. Mitam brute, satyam brute, and speaks the truth. Saha bhrityaha mahi bhujam arhaha. Such a sevaka deserves royal service. He can be employed in the service of a king. Anadishtopi bhupasya drishtva hanikarancha yaha yatate tasya nashaya sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Anadishtopi bhupasya drishtva hanikaram chayaha yatate tasya nashaya sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Anadishtaha api bhupasya drishtva hanikaram cha yaha yatate tasya nashaya saha bhrityaha arhaha mahi bhujam. Bhupasya hanikaram drishtva. So when he knows that the king is in trouble and there is something that is hanikara for the king, something that will bring illness to the king, something that is not good for the king, basically some kind of an illness, some kind of a bad thing for the king. Hanikaram drishtva yaha anadishtaha api tasya nashaya yatate. So even when not instructed, anadishtaha api, so when he sees that something bad is going to happen to the king, he should not wait for the instruction of the king to act, so that the king senses it and then he orders the bhritya. No, not like that. Even before the king senses it, if he senses it, what he will do? Anadishtaha api, without even being instructed. Tasya nashaya yatate. So he strives for destroying the hanikara. Okay, whatever is going to cause harm to the king, he destroys for the destruction of that thing. Saha bhrityaha mahi bhujam arhaha. So that person deserves to be a sevaka. Taditopi duruktopi danditopi mahi bhuja yona chintayate papam sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Taditopi duruktopi danditopi mahi bhuja yona chintayate papam sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Again, taditaha api duruktaha api danditaha api mahi bhuja yaha nachintayate papam saha bhrityaha arhaha mahi bhuja. Taditaha api duruktaha api danditaha api mahi bhuja. So mahi bhuja taditaha api. So even when one is beaten by the king, mahi bhuja taditaha api duruktaha api, even when he is scolded, okay, and spoken in a very harsh manner by the king. Let us say for something that he has not committed, let us say that the king has somehow, he has some kind of a misinformation, or see, a sevaka has one duty, okay, to attend to the king, but a king has many responsibilities. He deals with many sevakas, right? So it is the duty of a sevaka to understand the king's burden. So that is why sometimes the king can go wrong. Only if it is a persistent negative behavior that a sevaka gets frustrated and goes elsewhere. But then a loyal sevaka does not mind much. Okay. So when occasionally, if the king is going to be unhappy, okay, and express, in a fit of rage, he's going to tell something. Okay. He's misinformed by some other bhritya, something happens. If it's an occasional thing, a sevaka is not supposed to make a big fuss out of it. Okay. So duruktaha, that is what it means. It does not mean persistent durukti. Does not mean that. It means he understands the position of the king. Probably he is misinformed. That's okay. Duruktaha api. He is not a fragile person. That is what we have to understand. Okay. Superficially reading these verses might make us think that, the king is going to be cruel by definition and he is going to exploit the sevaka. No, it is not that. See, if that were the case, the previous verses will not say Vidyamanagatihi anyatra gachet. So a person, sevaka has 100 options. He does not have to stick with one king. So many kings are there. He can go elsewhere. Right? So here, so durukta, tadita, we have to understand it in the appropriate context. Okay? It does not mean that there is a persistent negative behavior from the king. Only means an occasional misunderstanding. If it comes, the sevaka is not supposed to make a big fuss out of it. Mahibhuja taditaha api, duruktaha api. So even when spoken harshly. Danditaha api, even when punished. Okay, for something that he does not commit, okay, for a crime that he has not committed, even if he is being punished occasionally, a fine sevaka should find a way out of it. He should know that. Yaha evam satyapi yaha na papam chintayate. The one who does not wish, bad things for the king, so loyal. That kind of a loyalty is being spoken over. Yahana papam chintayate saha bhrityaha mahibhujam arha. Tadrishaha bhrityaha. He is fit for royal service. He is fit for being called a sevaka. It is not exploitation in any way. I think it is very understandable for, I'm not sure about other movies, but so many Tamil movies that I have seen, in the 90s, they used to have such ideas. Okay. It used to be very common that there is a feudal lord and there are a lot of sevakas around him working for him, and they're very loyal, fiercely loyal. Okay. In fact, the movie usually goes around in a way that the sevaka is sometimes wrongly punished by the lord, okay, by the master, but still the person stays very loyal. And somehow the master also understands and their relationship comes back. This has been the theme of so many Tamil movies, so it's completely understandable. But these days you cannot make such movies because those ideas themselves are outdated and they've been branded as very bad. But otherwise, I think it is very natural for us to understand. I'm sure movies have been there in the having similar themes in almost all Indian languages. So, taditopi duruktopi danditopi mahibhuja yona chintayate papam sabhrityorho mahibhuja. Very understandable idea for us. I think a lot of questions. Hanikara. Spokes. Vidhrita, carrying. Okay, so Shirasa Vidhrita, they are carried by the head. Vidhrita, Dharana comes from Dhridhatu, means to carry. Wise and capable, very powerful philosophy. Okay, we can apply, but of course we are living in a smart world. Okay. Sales pitch by Damanaka. Okay. Hanikara. Hanikara is danger also. Yes, Hanikara is danger. Okay. Shaurya samyukta. Shurasya bhavaha shauryam. Courage. The one who has courage. Shauryena samyuktaha, one with courage. No other question? Maybe we can do one more shloka. No questions. Raised hands? No. So I think we'll do one more shloka. Nagarvam kurute mane napamane cha tapyate swakaram rakshayedyastu sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Nagarvam kurute mane napamane cha tapyate swakaram rakshayedyastu sabhrityorho mahi bhujam. Na garvam kurute mane na apamane cha tapyate swa akaram rakshayet yaha tu saha bhrityaha arhaha mahi bhujam. Again, yaha mane garvam na kurute, sammane. So when he is honored, he does not become arrogant. Yaha mane garvam na kurute, he still stays humble. So we can understand that the primary motivation for a sevaka is loyalty towards his lord, towards the master. Loyalty. Okay. And how can one have such kind of a loyalty? Okay, when the master has such fine qualities. So impressed by the qualities of the master alone can a servant be loyal, right? That is what happened in the case of Rama, that Hanuman is so moved by the qualities of Rama that he cannot help but be a sevaka for Rama, right? So the master has to have fine qualities, and that motivates a servant to be fiercely loyal to him. So when the master honors the sevaka, he does not get arrogant. He still stays humble. Yaha mane garvam na kurute, apamane na tapyate. So in case the master is going to neglect him, saha tapam na anubhavati. He does not feel much sad about it because somehow he knows that his loyalty will be valued at some level. So this is something that is occasional. So he does not make a big fuss out of it. Apamane na tapyate swa akaram rakshayetcha. And he does not give out his feelings. Okay. Akara here refers to internal feelings. So he does not let it out that easily. Okay. So whatever that goes on inside, so it means what, he is not very reactive. For every small thing that goes on in the royal palace, he cannot be reacting, right? Cannot be expressing, because there might be so many things that might go on inside his heart. He has to be very careful as to what he shows outside, what he expresses outside. So akaram rakshaye, a very strong person, does not let out his feelings easily. Sahabhrityaha mahi bhujam arha. Such a person deserves royal service. The question, we can pause here, continue tomorrow. Viramamaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Srinivasan.